Hi, I'm Sharon. I've got 5 children. 2 are born normally and my last 3 children were by caesarean section. I never really thought about not having a normal delivery. To me, I was 24, I was pregnant and I was going to have a baby. There wasn't any other choice for me. My waters would have broken, I would have gone into labour and I would have come into labour ward and had a normal delivery. And luckily for me, I did, because that was the only picture I had in my head that was going to happen. I then went on to have a second child who, pretty much the same sequence of events. It was only when I got to my third child did things start to change. Came into labour as I did for the first 2 babies that I had, but things changed pretty quickly and I ended up having an emergency caesarean section. It was quite hard for me, I think, accepting that things weren't as normal as what I perceived it to be. And I didn't go for any counselling afterwards, but I read a lot on the internet and I found out that actually maybe it was just a little bit of a blip that I had this caesarean and that I could then go on to have another child and it would be okay and I could go back to the scenario that I had for the first 2 children and I could have this normal delivery. What was important for me was to get the right support. Once I had the support that I needed from my family, I then went on to seek more from the health professionals' advice of how it would go, what were the statistics, what I was up against to have a normal vaginal birth after I had this caesarean. And yeah, I could do it. I found out that it was okay and I could go ahead and I could plan for this normal delivery. What was great was that I also was counselled and I was advised that if things didn't go as planned, it would be okay to have a caesarean, and that's what I needed to accept. I did in the end have a caesarean, however, that the midwife that was there with me, supporting me through that caesarean, made it a totally different experience to what I'd experienced having an emergency caesarean section. It was very controlled, it was very calm, the lights were dim, I had music playing, so although it wasn't a vaginal delivery, it wasn't a normal delivery, to me having a caesarean section for that 4th time was normal, it was okay. And that's what I accepted. I think what I really want to try and say is although we have these images and pictures and illusions maybe of how we portray what we want from childbirth, as long as we're guided and as long as we have the midwife there reassuring us that it's okay to have a caesarean, because when I was 24, it was never okay for me. It was always the women that something was wrong with them maybe, or something was wrong with the baby. They were the ones that went on to have a caesarean. Whereas as age and maturity for my part progressed, I realised that having caesarean was okay as long as I had in place anything that didn't reassure me. So as such, like having the music playing, that was great. That was making me feel as though I was on a labour ward. Even though the surrounding was quite clinical, I felt very zoned in. The midwife was very close to me. She whispered to me, she massaged my head. These are all things that I won't forget.